Okay, so let's begin with just a few moments. So settling in. And sit a little bit forwards on your chair. You can do so comfortably. Tilt the body forwards, just feel a little bit of weight in your feet, letting your feet be pushed into the floor. Try not to stiffen up in knees or thighs, or at least notice if that's what's going on. That's often hard to avoid to begin with. Your hips drop into the chair. Your shoulders drop down towards your hips. Rubbing your hands together. Tapping over your face. Loosen your jaw a little bit. Over your head and neck. And then down to your shoulder, your arm. As you tap your arm, just notice vibration in the muscles and your fingers on the other side. And the upper part. Light on your belly. And then now settle back in your chair. As always, these initial stages of the class are always going to be as much about bringing your attention into your body as the physical aspects. Not that the physical aspects are unimportant by any means. And one way that we can connect the two is to recognize that gravity pulls us down into the chair. And this, of course, is crucial to what we call rooting down, the dropping of our weight lower down in our body. But also, if we can bring our attention to that process, to that feeling, say, of your shoulders dropping back, there's a sense in which your thoughts are dropping down as well. You're not trying to not think, because I think that's a fairly futile process, even if it were desirable. But what you can do is redirect your attention away from the business of our lives, and nothing wrong with that business. Quite often there's a lot of very positive things there, but just a sort of sense of turning the other way, as it were, letting those details and thoughts settle into the back of your mind just a little bit. So learning to take some kind of ownership of our thoughts so that we can focus on those aspects that are more useful to us at any one moment. And just noting the physical characteristics associated with this process. It might be that you feel your breath deepen in and become a bit smoother. It might be a releasing tightness in different parts of your body. Sometimes we can get a sense of the movement in our body, the circulation in our body. These may or may not occur each time. They can be variable. It's a general sense of settling in. And then taking this into the upright posture. Once again, you can be a bit forward in the chair and then do so, but either way, just noting how your body is supported. Obviously, your hips and the chair are supporting you, but if your weight's a little bit forwards, so are your feet and your legs. Your back supporting the front of your body, allowing a sense of release of tightness in the front of your body. And an increasing feeling of support from within from the area of the skeleton and the surrounding tissue. And that furthers the sense of being able to release tightness in the front of your body and so on. So I'm describing these in a very linear way, but they're not really. They're interconnected, mutually supported. And begin to just turn your head gently, noting that when we begin to take this more open posture, this less tight posture, we can develop a sense of space within the body. And just have an intention for any movements that you make to fill that space, but not to strain against it, not to force the movement. As you begin to move, you will begin to move further, but that process of enlarging the range of our movement, which is a useful thing to do, of course, is a gradual one, not a quick one. Hands in front of your shoulders, circling your elbows over, feeling how this stimulates an awareness of your upper body expanding and then contracting. Sometimes that's labeled as filling and emptying. Again, maybe that idea of filling the space. And then going forward, of course, paying attention to your shoulders. Are they tight? Can you get that smoothness of movement to help to release that tightness? Trying not to put pressure on the joint. Hands down to your sides, rotating your arms. So feeling that your body in general, but perhaps your joints in particular at this point, have been very gently massaged by the movement. In the back of your mind, one of the things that you want to just note is this feeling of sinking into the chair. Remember your hips sinking into the chair. Once again, allowing your body to yield to the pull of gravity. And then winding around. And back in. One image that I find helpful is to think about a mannequin, a dummy in a shop window displaying a coat or shirt or some kind of garment. And if we think of that inner area, the skeleton surrounding tissue has been like the actual mannequin, and big muscle of the back and so on and so forth, like the garment, soft tissue of the body, kind of draped over the shape that's already there. It's just a way of viewing the body as something that is already supported. So now tilting forward, so more of your weight goes in to your feet. And the legs compressed, and then pushing down, coming back to the upright position, and just returning to that image of the mannequin or whatever image, whatever sort of way of looking at this is helpful to you. So that on a regular basis, you just get this sense of settling. You're more likely to feel that in the upright positions. As you go forwards, you may find it was stiffening in your back or your shoulders, and certainly as you come back up. But as you get used to these moments of settling, again, there's an intention to feel the same as you begin to move. So gradually, this sense of being supported and the spaciousness and the potential for movement that comes with that spreads. We can still feel it here because we've still got the support of our feet. You can feel it in transition because we're moving between our feet and our hips. You go too far here, I will start to strain because now I'm overextending. So you can also apply that settling down. It's a slightly more awkward position when you're forwards like this. The ideal would be that we never lose that. And sometimes you'll find that you can move with that same sense. Other times you might find, depending on the movement and how you're doing, you might find that it's just not happening. So the first thing to establish in this sense is perhaps the idea that even though we may lose this quality, we're very capable of returning it. Turning slightly. As you go forwards, there's a gentle expansion through your back and your spine, which then contracts. And again, a sense perhaps of filling and emptying, that there's a sense of filling into your front of your body, so you get almost pulled forwards, and then as you push yourself back, that filling goes into your back. And then turning the other way. These are very subtle processes. There's always a temptation to do it quickly, to look for quick results. But if we're going to make that sort of judgment, which may be useful at times, what we really should be doing is looking back not over the last 5 minutes, but over the last 5 weeks or 5 months or whatever. It's never going to be consistent because our lives change from day to day. And then rolling your hips and your pelvis around, just recognizing that we're moving from this central part of the body, from the movement of the weight between our hips and our feet. Change direction. Coming back to the upright position, pull one heel up, extend the foot, put the heel down, lower the ball of the foot, gently pressing into the foot, planting the foot. These are all elements that we're going to bring together in various ways when we get to the main body of exercises. Plant the foot, move the weight, sit back. Be clear on the order of the movement, giving the initial movement to our feet and our legs. A part of the body it's easy to kind of lose touch with. Once again, there's an attention element here where we're putting our attention. Change sides, first of all, with the empty step. Leg extending, contracting, extending, contracting. When your leg extends, and we transfer the weight. Come back, and the leg contracts. And alternating from side to side. Now, noticing that to do that, the body will just naturally shift across a little bit and turn a little bit. One more time. And let your arms hang down. So now, having gone through the different parts of the body, we bring them together into one unit, shall we call it? Bringing body and mind, movement, energy together. Turning your hands palm forwards with your weight back more in your hips, going forwards, just rotating your arms. You're not swinging your arms forwards and backwards for this one. Arms hanging directly down from your shoulder. There's still a fair amount of movement. The combination of your weight moving and this rotation in your arms creates a very gentle, smooth curve. The fingers trace out. But this time, leaving your hands with the palms facing back, and letting your arms swing. The fingers will trace out a very gentle curve, quite naturally. Here, they're hanging down from your shoulders as you arrive in your feet, they swing past them. Here, same thing as you arrive in your hips, they swing past. It's the sheer momentum of the movement will do that. But as your hands swing up, just notice what's happening in your upper body. So here, as my arms swing up, certain parts of my body are extending and contracting, not just my arm. And these subtle internal movements gradually become a much more central point of focus. Not because we don't care about the external movements, we do, but because they're the movements that build in to the bigger, more visible movements. So we can begin to bring quality of intentionality to those small changes within the body. And it feels increasingly as though rather than having to move your arms, they're actually being moved. This time, as you go forwards, building a little bit on those expansive movements within the body, coming back, so your arms come up and over a little bit as though you're just rolling the ball in towards your chest. Breathing coming nice and smoothly, but what you may find is that it becomes quite natural for you to breathe in as your body expands. If that's not the case, don't force it. Your body does know how to breathe best. Here, as you come back, turning your hands, palm in, drawing your elbows apart, opening the chest, and then reversing into that. Pigeon spreads. This time, in the forward position, coming back, elbows going out, but your hands staying in front of your hips, turning forwards, pushing away. Slightly more compact, stronger quality compared to the last exercise. Movement forwards, push your elbows forwards. That pushes your hands forwards. And the shape of your arm, once again, ensures that there's a curve up. Try not to think of lifting your arms. Again, this massaging quality in the shoulder joints. One more time. Then we combine this with stepping that we were doing earlier. Push the foot out. All the time, try not to stiffen up in the big mobilizing muscles of our body, especially back and shoulders. Turn the other direction. And one image that can help with that softening of the muscles is of moving through water. It's something that we tend to naturally do in water. And this helps the movement to sort of come from a deeper place in the body. So we engage not just sort of big mobilizing muscle groups, but skeletal muscle, tendon, ligament, fascia, and the actual flow of the movement as well, the sense of the energy of the instrument. One more time. Roll your fingers into a hollow fist. This time as you push forwards, they don't come up. So your elbows straighten out a little bit, but don't get completely straight. And your arms rotate. Palm up here, palm down at the end of it. If it proves to be a strain to take your arm through the whole of that rotation, then just go as far as is comfortable. But try not to make it a movement just with the wrists. It's actually a rotation all the way from your shoulders down through into your wrists and your hands. Don't grip tightly, you should be able to get a finger down the middle of the fist. And from this position, forwards, open your fingers, turn your hands out, wind them back, and then press forwards. Where in the back of your mind that process that we looked at right at the beginning when we were just moving the weight, at the moment of settling in, releasing, both forwards and rear position. And seeing if we can maintain that all the way through as much movement as possible. In the rotation, the softness in the muscles and joints of the arms, the shoulders. And then the head palm down. And using that circular movement. Again, change direction, extensions through your back, and then around. So drawing back, settling in, changing direction, polishing it. These little moments where we settle in, where we punctuate the flow of the movement without losing that flow, really remind us again in the mind that it's not just about movement. It's through this awareness we cultivate it is alongside the movement or within the movement, the quality of stillness and calmness. Again, those extra thoughts recede into the background. So the spaciousness is in your mind, freed from those busy thoughts, as well as in the body. Now, this time, coming back, turn your hands palm up, settle into your hips, then a gentle push up, lengthen in through the back of the spine. Pushes your hands up, hips dropping down, shoulders dropping, as though you're pressing the ball down. One more round. The bottom of the movement, rotating in your shoulders so your fingers point out into the wild goose with this lovely image of the bird in flight, perhaps also conveying its own quality. Noticing how our bodies respond to changes in awareness, changes in intention, whether that be through something I've said about structure, a memory of the movement, an awareness that has grown through paying attention to the movement, or in this exercise, perhaps with this very strong image of the bird in flight, a response to an image of something. And then using pause, letting your hands swing in front of your knees, sit back, settle into your hips, expanding upwards, parting the palms. There's a range of ways that we can use to bring our attention back into our body, away from those extraneous thoughts. And at the same time, recognizing how they have an effect on our bodies, on our mood. One more time. Your hands drop down, feeling the weight of your arms hanging from the shoulders. Focusing on the expanding movement on one side of your body, pushing your elbow up, drawing your fingers up, and then winding around, pulling down. Dragon plucks the stars. Move to the other side, then brush change over. And back down, feeling the expansion all the way through that side of your body, bringing your attention to your belly, then to the opposite side. One more on each side. And then changing, both hands in and again, that expansive feeling in the body, pushing the hands up, extending through the spine, coming down slowly, taking your time, and see if you can just bring that inside of your hand or your arm to this area, just as close to the hips as you can, just lightly touching the side of your body, and then pushing out and back, lightly touching that side of it. So just moving away from the idea that we have to rush at this and emphasizing that point of settling. And this time as your attention gets brought back to that central part of your body, turn there, redirect your arms, come back, turn into the front. Same idea to the other side. And back. Maybe remembering that image that you were moving through water. This time, extend one foot again. This time, just let it rest on your heel. Easing forward, scooping the sea, looking at the sky. The weight doesn't really go a long way forwards here. There's an expansion through the back of your leg, and then as you come up, expansion rising up through your body. Once again, it's not forced. The energy seems to fill your body. So as your hands drop down, once again, a hollow fist, and this time the trajectory is more forwards and upwards, drawing your arms over into grasping the tiger's ears. Sides, starting with Fisherman Castanet. The expanding process is very much an internal process. It's not stimulated by straining our arms or our shoulders. When you're filling up from below. Grasping the tiger's ears, expanding through the back. These internal expansions and contractions are things that we find that we can very much bring our intentions to. And then that expansive feeling, one of the images I have for it sometimes, if you've ever sat down on a sort of sofa and then had a cat jump up next to you and they lay down there, and 10 minutes later somehow you've been pushed into the side, you're right, you've been squashed up against the side of the sofa, and the cat has just sort of expanded to fill all the space. So when we go to do something like Dragon Plucks the Stars from the Sky, it shouldn't be a strain. It should have that same sense of an almost invisible expansion that happens gradually and gently. Moving your weight forwards and backwards. And this time, making it a slightly more complex pattern. You turn to your left, you move the weight forwards, you come back on the diagonal line towards your right hip, or he turns again, then you turn to the left. And the same thing on the other side. Come back, move more into your right hip, hold the ball with your right hand on top, going forwards and turning. And again, that expansion, pushing your arm out to the movement, part the wide system. Coming back, hold the ball. Same thing on the other side. This time as you come across, bring your left foot in, step out as we did before, plant the foot, easing forwards, draw back. Plant the foot down, parallel to the right foot, move into your right. Don't hurry the movement. One of the very common points that trips us up, as it were, is that we get to here, and when leading out there, we forget to move the leg, get the foot in position, and then you can continue to build the support of the leg as you go forwards. One more on each side. And back. Once again, having the hands together and tapping over your face. Over your head and neck. Down to one shoulder, your arm, the other side, and the upper part. Your belly, and just pushing your heels up to muscles of your legs working, or before we try and stand on them. And then circling knees around, bring the movement back into your hips and back. and then standing. Standing with your feet hip width apart, and a slight feeling of overhanging in the lower back, your hips, and the buttocks. Once again, aware of the pull of gravity down through your body, the soft tissue of your body being pulled down like the coating, the shop window. But that there's a strength, a force, and energy that continues to hold you up, continues to hold your shape without you having to stiffen up. And so when we sink down, we're yielding to the pull of gravity. And when we push up, it's this rising movement, this rising energy that does the job for us. We contract and empty. We allow tension and tightness to sit down. And then the expansion again, think of the cat on the chair, or balloon expanding. Comes a movement all the way through the body. Obviously, your legs are going to sort of work quite hard while you're doing this. But there's other things going on as you move up with movements in the upper part of your body. What we don't want to do is something like this, to sort of pull our shoulders up. You're filling up and then empty. And bringing your arms into the movement. Already done this in the chair, so it's time to fill in, pushes your elbows out, and then you sink down as though you're pushing the ball down into it. So although, again, obviously, there are certain parts of your body, your legs in particular when you're standing, but your back as well, are more dominant in the movement. Really, you want to feel that your whole body is moving as one unit. And ideally, not just your body, but your mind is sort of following this pattern of expansion, contraction. Not just following, but actually stimulating it. There's an intention here to fill up, to feel yourself being pushed up, and then an intention to yield to the pull of gravity to empty. And then change into the wild goose. And parting the clouds. Change the stance. Turn one foot out a little bit, step forward with the other foot, keeping the width of your step so you feel supported. Bring your weight into your back foot. Look for that feeling of releasing through your hip and your knee, so you feel your leg being compressed. Your knee may bend a bit more, but it's already curved enough to allow this to happen. And then when you feel the push, then let it push you up, let it push you forwards. Settling into your front foot, and then feeling the push like a wave coming up through your body, that we focus directly. The intention is when we feel it coming up through the back foot, that it's going to take us into the front foot, and vice versa. So when I go back, I don't want to go over here. It's not just a random movement, it's an intentional movement. Again, you can imagine moving through water And this may stimulate an awareness of very subtle changes in your upper body as you go forward. The pressure of the water would be against your belly, your chest. When you go back, it would be against your back. How does that change the movement? Excuse me while I get a drink. Which movements which changes in the upper body can we bring a sense of intentionality to intend those changes to further develop the movement? When you go back, raise the front toes a little bit, the weight settling to the back foot, and go forwards. I like to have my front foot turned out just a little bit here. Push your back knee forward so your heel comes up. Gradually aligning your body over your supporting leg, letting your weight drop down until you're able to bring your foot in and then plant it forwards, move forwards, bringing the rear foot in. It's the ball of your foot goes down first when you step back, then the heel. Try that on the other side. Imagine parallel lines going through your feet like tram lines. And when you take the step forwards and backwards, you're stepping on to that line, and then the weight transfer. Trying not to strain in your shoulders. Try not to lead with your shoulders. You don't want to sort of push forward or pull back with the upper part of your body. Raising your toes and your heel. Stepping in. And then imagine that you're stepping onto the corners of a square. So this time, go forwards. Instead of stepping back, step aside to the other front corner. Bring your foot in, step back to the rear corner. Bring the foot in, step across. Notice how, as part of the step, your empty leg, the one that you're stepping with, comes into the other foot. This time, change direction, so bring the foot in, step out to the left. Just exploring what are really everyday movements for us. Forwards and backwards stepping. Then just shake it. And from the parallel position, taking a few steps either forwards or backwards. So go into, say, your left foot, bring the foot in, step through, plant the foot, move the weight in. And then going back. Okay, now have your right foot forwards. The standing version of fisherman cast and net. And again, Arms at their full length halfway through, they swing up. As you settle into the leg, noticing again changes of expansion and contraction, patterns of movement in your upper body. You can bring your attention and your intention to. This time, on the front foot, as you go back, you turn in the direction of your front foot. And now you feel those patterns of expansion here, expanding in that front side of your body. Down in the middle, expanding in the rear side. And just building on that, so you expand a little bit more, pushing your hands up, and then as you come back, they drop down to the rear hip, expanding as you turn a little bit into the back and imagining that shape in front of you, like a sideways figure of eight or an infinity sign. And just moving your body, turning your center, moving your weight to draw your fingers in a nice flowing way through that shape. Remember that massage you're feeling in the shoulders, not straining in the shoulders. Change over, let's try that on the other side. So starting with first version of fisherman castanet, which is forwards and backwards. And then turning. Building that into the figure of eight movement. Turn the front foot out a little bit, and this time as you go forwards, bring the foot in. Once. Maybe finding that you can just raise the knee a little bit. Don't worry if that makes you feel a bit wobbly, then just keep the foot down. Then you bring in the foot in first. And then going back. And go back to your chest. Coming back to that original posture, which was both the starting point for what we do, but also really is at the center of all the movements. letting your hips sink into the chair, letting your shoulders drop down. Feeling that support, your feet and your hips, from your back, from within your body. Letting your hands drop down, and then pushing them away from your body so they swing up, coming around and hold the ball, embracing the tiger, drawing in, returning to the mount. Coming back to this idea that even though we may not keep all these qualities the whole time, we can return to them. This time, letting your hands come down, feeling the weight of your arms resting on the legs. Just keeping the focus of your attention gently in your body, where your weight is distributed, where you're supported, maybe in things like the rhythm, the flow. And just open up. Thank you very much, everybody. Do feel free to contact me with any questions you may have in the future. But enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.